Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ji ki jai, Radha Ramana Ji ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Can you make notice, kind of push it down so it's standing the whole bar. The feet, yeah, it just needs to be stable. Okay, dig it. Just checking. So we will be starting with Mangalacharan, page 1 of our Shri Gaudiya Giti Guccha, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Dandavat Pranama Vaishnavas. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavāścha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Sudevi Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Odarya Madhurya Gunaishchayuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Nārayaṇam Tvam Shirasham Namami Vedandrinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padam Vitaika Vrindi Chaitanya Leela Sarasam Nārayaṇam Tvam Satatam Prapadye. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyāna Keshava Namine. अतीमत्यच्छरित्राय स्वश्रितानाञ्च पालिने जीवदुःखे सदरताय श्रीराम प्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण सम्बन्ध विज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमभ्य श्रीरूपाङ्गभक्तिना श्रीगौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनकारिणे रूपानुगं विरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदम्बुजवन्यते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिय वैष्णव सर्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणासिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतौ पङ्को मम मन्दं मतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोज राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव वेष्ठादिभिः सेव्यमानुस्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवततस्थितः कार्षन्वेणुस्वनैर्गोपी गोपीनाथश्रीस्तुनः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद संस्थापनम् श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणम् विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दमृतिवर्धनं प्रतिफलम् पूर्णामृतास्वादनम् सर्वात्मसमहं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् खलु नस्येव गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Dandavat Pranama Vaishnavas. Today we are observing the day of Sri Lochan Das Thakur, so we will concentrate on his bhajans. Although many of them are quite heavy by nature, yet they're saturated with essential truth, spoken concisely, so they're truly eloquent. Here's one we don't do very often. I don't see a Lochan Das for Shri Guru here. Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna Prakashe. Page 35. Shri Gurudev ki jai. Mitam chasaram chabacho hivagmitam. Gurudev kabe tava karuna prakashe. Kabe tava karuna prakashe. Gaurango Lila Hoi Nitya Tattva Eshu Vedo Vishwase Shri Gaurango Lila Hoi Nitya Tattva Eshu Vedo Vishwase. Hari Hari Boli Bodrumo Kanone Brahmi Bodarshano Yashe. Hari Hari Boli Bodrumo Kanone Brahmi Bodarshano Yashe. Gurudev Kabe Tava Advaita Shrivas Gadadharo Pancho Jano Nitai Gaurango Advaita Shrivas Gadadharo Pancho Jano Krishna Namo Rase Bhashave Jagata Kori Mahasankirtan Krishna Namo Rase Bhashave Jagata Kori Mahasankirtan Gurudev Bhave Tava Karuna Prakashe Bhave Tava Karuna Prakashe Nartana Vilas Mridanga Vadana Shunibo Yapana Kale Nartana Vilas Mridanga Vadana Shunibo Yapana Kale Dekhiya dekhiya se lila madhuri bhashibo premero bani Dekhiya dekhiya se lila madhuri bhashibo premero bani Gurudev Bhave Tava Karuna Prakashe Bhave Tava Karuna Prakashe Na dekhi aba se lila ratana kadidha gaurango gori Aba se lila ratana kadidha gaurango gori Amare vishayi pagalo boliya Ongete viveko dhuni Amare vishayi pagalo boliya Ongete viveko dhuni Bhave Tava Karuna Prakashe Bhave Tava Karuna Prakashe Gurudeva Jaya 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 Prabhupada 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 Guru Parampara 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 Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Rupan Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai. Kirupe Paibo Seva Mui Durachar by Narottam Das Thakur, page 45. Kirupe Paibo Seva Mui Duracharo Shri Guru Vaishnaverati Na hoilo yamaro Kirupe Paibo Seva All Vaishnava Thakurs ki Jai. Now we will call for the mercy and grace of Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu in a tune familiar to you all. Young Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata, page 47. Dandavat Pranam. Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata, Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata, Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata, Tan Braja Prema Mahārāja Kārtika, Tan Braja Prema Mahārāja Yang Braja Prema Mahānidhi Utarika, Tan Braja Prema Mahānidhi Utarika, Konaka Pada Udharata, Konaka Pada Udharata, Yankali Rupa Sharira Nadharata, Yankali Rupa Sharira Nadharata, Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu, Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu, Rupa Gosvāmī. Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu ki jai. According to our process, without the mercy of Rupa Goswami, you cannot attain the mercy of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. So, we would have to say that our first connection is the most merciful, Śrī Guru. Because for us, without Śrī Guru, we cannot attain the mercy of the Vaishnavas or Rupa Goswami. Without Rupa Goswami and the Vaishnavas, we cannot attain the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Without his mercy, we cannot attain the mercy and shelter of Mahaprabhu. And without Mahaprabhu, we cannot attain the shelter of Shri Radha and Krishna. So they're all interconnected, and they're all the most merciful. But there is a speciality for us, Ado Guru Parashray. First of all, one must surrender to the lotus feet of Shri Guru. Even then, we're told that without the Vaishnavas, we won't understand how to serve Shri Guru properly. But that doesn't mean we surrender unto all of them the same as we surrender to Gurudev. We must have exclusivity. Srila Gurudev said, he asked a question, should you serve the Vaishnavas in order to please Gurudev, or should you serve Gurudev in order to please the Vaishnavas? And he said, you will never be able to please everyone. If you try, you will fail. Guaranteed. Our mood should be how to please Gurudev. And even if in that process there is some mistake, still, if that is our intention, then everything will be perfect and all will become satisfied, even Krishna. So, that is our process. Oh, Dandavat Pranam Rudra. We met Rudra Gupta today. And very, yes, under the shelter of Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī. Very nice young man, very enthusiastic for bhakti. And I pray that Shri Guru and the Vaishnavas will carry him as swiftly as he can desire, and more swiftly than that, to the path of perfection. Not to the path, to perfection. On the path of perfection, to perfection. Now we're going to call out in the words of Lochandas Thakur to Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. Oh, we got a lot of the Nityananda Prabhu bhajans are from Lochandas Thakur. Nitai Gunamani Amar, Akroda Paramananda, Nitai Mora Jivan Dhan. Okay, we'll sing this one. Page 57 in the songbook. Nitai Mora Jivana Dhana. Page 57, Nitai Mora Jivanadana by Sri Lochandas Thakur. And let me read you the translation first. He's teaching us how to be extremely exclusive and one-pointed. And this is a bhajan to Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. But who is the first manifestation of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu in our lives? That is Śrī Gurudev. So Lochan Das Thakur is saying, Nitai is the wealth of my life. Nitai is my family. But for Nitai, I have no resort. I shall throw ash in the face of worldly pleasure. While chanting the name of Nitai, I shall sustain my life by begging in the village. I shall never visit any place where he is absent. And I shall never look upon the face of one who is averse to him. The water that bathes Nitai's feet is the same Ganga that Lord Shiva bears upon his head. One who does not worship this Nitai will suffer and die. Lochan Das declares, I shall scorch the face of one who has no regard for my Nitai. Well, I think this means that we should have regard for Nitai. But Lochan Das tells it quite strongly. Of course, we sing his bhajan Nitai Gunamani Amar quite frequently, and Akroda Paramananda also quite frequently. But he's showing what kind of one-pointed conviction he has on the lotus feet of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. And this here, Gurudev has also spoken this. He's saying, I shall never look upon the face of one who is averse to him, one who is against him. And our Srila Gurudev said that we should be the same way toward those who are aparadhis or offenders to our Guru. That we should not see their face, we should not think about them, we should not talk about them. Basically, out of sight, out of mind. For those who are opposed to or who are offensive to our transcendental Sri Gurudev. Of course, here, he's a little bit stronger, but he has so much mamata, possessive mood to Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, that this naturally comes out. These days, it's quite common for people in the name of society, friendship, and love to compromise on their relationship with their own Guru in order to satisfy and please the senses of the people of this world, including those who are actually offensive or against their own Guru. Well, let's come to a comfortable, happy medium, and so I'll accept a certain amount of aparad mood from you toward my Gurudev, that kind of mood. But here, Srila Lochan Das Thakur is teaching us exclusivity, one-pointedness. If we cannot practice exclusivity or one-pointedness toward the lotus feet of our Gurudev, in other words, everyone who is in our circle of friends and support and family and guides should somehow be in the role of assisting us in the development of our nishta and our mamata in the lotus feet of our Gurudev. It means our conviction and our possessive mood, mineness, as Srila Gurudev would say. Their function is to assist us in that relationship. To that extent, we should associate. If we have to associate externally for any other reason, then we don't need to do it by heart. It might be that you're in a grocery store and there's an association when there's a transaction of money and foodstuffs, but it doesn't need to be by heart. Exclusivity must be there, and if we cannot develop exclusiveness for the lotus feet of our Sri Guru, then how will we develop one-pointedness or exclusivity to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna? So it is essential that we start with that and then continue with that and develop into that, from beginning all the way to the end. Kishori Priya, a little bit stronger understatement of the year. He says, I shall scorch the face of one who has no regard for my Nitai. That's kind of a call to stay far away from him. And scorching the face might not be with a literal torch. But if someone is not favorable or averse, then he will, as our Gurudev said, when Shastra says cut their tongue, he said it doesn't mean a literal cutting of the tongue. It means cut their tongue with the arguments of Shastra. But if you do not have the capacity to do so, then you should immediately leave that place. Cover your ears, chant the holy names, and take bath in any body of water with all of your clothes on, and beg forgiveness from hearing that. Because scorching the face can have so many different meanings. And here he's saying, I shall throw ash in the face of worldly pleasure. So ash is like the leftovers after everything has been burnt. And that is like this. Who was it? Srila Gaura Babaji Mahārāja. What was his mood? If any desire to taste anything nice ever came to him, he would either eat bitter neem leaves or eat mud. Here, for you, my tongue. You take this. You were desiring to enjoy that? Let me give you something to enjoy. Here's bitter neem leaves and mud.
Srila Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja explained the Rupa Goswāmī. He talks about love to the highest extent, and he gives an example of having a beloved outside of marriage.
Yes.
So Srila Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja was explaining sometimes a shock is necessary for us to actually glimpse something and understand it, and for it to enter into our consciousness so that we get some idea. So as you were speaking, I was thinking this is somewhat like that. It's kind of a shock, but you never forget it. You never forget that. Sometimes you forget words or you forget paragraphs of things, but you never forget
the shocks.
The shocks of these bhajans, about not wearing tilak, about smelling a rose and being stung. All these things are very, very shocking. So they really impart that knowledge into our hearts, and it doesn't escape easily. So I was thinking it's like that. It's a shock. Oh, wow. So that we understand the real nature of it.
Could you all hear her? I think you could. So that shock, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explained that he was shocked by his Gurudev. And he realized that that was necessary to awaken him from his slumber, so to speak, and bring him to his senses. Meaning, that's a term in English, bring someone to their senses from being out in La La Land or whatever that is. From being spaced out, to bring someone back to their focus. And he realized that unless others are similarly shocked, they also will not be able to wake up. Srila Gaura Govinda Mahārāja explained, there was one devotee, and he was just saying, oh, you are so dense, even the thunderbolt of Indra cannot wake you up. You require many, many thunderbolts, and even then you won't wake up. So, some shock is necessary, something strong, some medicine. And this is showing what kind of conviction one should have in the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur also says, anyone who does not want to glorify or who is against my Nityananda Prabhu, I kick them in their heads. Again and again he said it in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. And it was Srila Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja, I believe, who said, all of our acharyas have actually commented on this, that this is a great blessing. We shouldn't see it as a bad thing. This is the mercy of the Vaishnava. When he's saying, I kick you in your head, what could we desire more than the foot dust of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur? So, from one perspective, we can say, wow, that's a little heavy. From the other perspective, we can say, oh, he's giving such strong, clear punishment, which will remove millions of lifetimes of aparads and anarthas. So Lochan Das Thakur has strong conviction in the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and so much so that anyone who does not worship this Nitai will suffer and die. Well, that is true also. Think about it. Anyone who does not follow the process of bhakti, what will happen? They will suffer and they will die in this material world again and again. For what purpose? Just cycling through samsara. But if one takes shelter of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he's very, very kind and very merciful. Yesterday we were singing a different bhajan. I think it was Anandakanda. And there was one part that caught my attention. Something about he will embrace you. I can't see it right now. It's not showing up for me, but I remember reading it yesterday. And Nityananda Prabhu is so kind, so affectionate, and so merciful, despite anyone's disqualification, despite anyone's weakness. Still, he's merciful. He's non-different from Baladev Prabhu. And Srila Gurudev said that Baladev has a special connection with the jivas, because actually we are from him. We are from Krishna, but not in essence directly. And we also have a similar nature inherently like Baladev Prabhu. What is that nature? Although he is non-different from Krishna, it is said the only difference really is his complexion. Still, his mood is service to Krishna. Srila Gurudev said every particle of his being is made of service to Krishna. And that is also essentially our nature as Jivatmas. So he has a special affinity toward the jivas who are of him to bring us to our perfection. And he manifests in the form of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, somehow going everywhere. Ghare ghare bhule prem amiyaraban. He has opened up, broken that dam of prem, and allowed that prem to flow everywhere, to every home, to every place, even catching those who don't want it. How merciful is Nityananda Prabhu. So this is showing conviction, very strong, firm, resolute, one-pointed faith in the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Nitai moro jivanadham, Nitai moro jati, Nitai moro jivanadham, Nitai moro jati. Excuse me, I don't believe I chanted Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda first, and we're supposed to do that first, calling on all of them for their mercy, and then approaching Sri Nityananda Prabhu in this point. So forgive me for that. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Nitai moro jivanadham, Nitai moro jati, Nitai moro jivanadham, Nitai moro jati, Nitai bihone moro aro nahi gati, Nitai bihone moro aro nahi gati, sangsaro sukero mukhe tule dibo sangsaro sukero mukhe tule dibo nogare magiya khabo gaiya neta, nogare magiya khabo gaiya neta, je deshe nitai nai se deshe na jao, se deshe nitai nai, se deshe na jao, nitai binukho jana, mukho nahi ribo, nitai binukho jana, mukho nahi ribo, Ganga jaro pada jalo, har shire dhare, Ganga jar pada jalo, har shire dhare, teno nitai na bhajiya, yuga peye more, teno nitai na bhajiya, yuga peye more, lochon bole moro nitai, jeva nahi mane, lochon bole moro nitai, jeva nahi mane, analohe jaita, majho mukho kahe, analohe jaita, majho mukho kahe, nitai moro jivana dham, nitai moro jati, nitai moro jivana dham, nitai moro jati, nitai bihone moro aro nahi gati, nitai bihone moro aro nahi gati, jayo nityananda ram, nityananda ram, jai nityananda ram, jai nityananda ram, jaya nityananda ram, jai nityananda ram, jai nityananda ram, jaya nityananda ram, nitai he, 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 पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। Interesting question came up. Srila Gurudev mentioned that Srimati Radhika is terrified by Narasingha. Do we pray to Narasingha during Krama order? Not generally. And it's not that she's terrified of him necessarily, but Narasingha Dev injected into Radha and Krishna's Nishanta Leela, in essence would be Rasa Abhas. Gurudev said at that time, at Mangalarti time, when Radha and Krishna are just waking up, if you throw Narasingha into the mix, they will become afraid and run away, he said. Remember, they don't think they're God. They are completely enwrapped in love and affection, in prem. And Narasingha Dev is a pretty awesome form. But do you remember when he was angry? Some people feel they have the right to worship angry Narasimha, Ugra Narasimha. But when he was angry, Lord Brahma could not go forward. Lord Shiva could not go forward. They said, Lakshmi Devi, you go. She said, I've never seen my husband like this before. He's very angry. I cannot go. Finally, they told little Prahlad, and he's like, okay, and he went. But no one was willing to go. He had fire shooting out of his eyes. He was so furious. So, Srila Gurudev was saying that we should try to not mix these things. When we are saying, Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Nrisingha Vamana Srimadhusudana, this is different than Tavakara Kamala Varena Kam Adbhuta Shringam. This is the Narasimha who is literally Tavakara, your hands, Kamala, lotus, Bare, Nakam, nails. How beautiful your hands look. How wonderful. As they are ripping apart the wasp like Hiranyakashipu. Right? Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringham. So this is one mood, that is Narasimhadev Bhagavan as we know him. But there's another name for Krishna, which is also Nrisingha Vamana Srimadhusudana. And for those who are Braj Rasik Vaishnavas, when they hear these names like that, they don't think of half man, half lion ripping apart Hiranyakashipu. There are other deep meanings to this. And one of them you will find in Hansadutta, mentioned by Sri Lalita Saki as she's speaking to the swan to bring a message to Krishna in Mathura. Of course, send the 5-year-old. He manifested to rescue the 5-year-old. So, for that purpose, yes, he's the Supreme Personality of protecting his pure devotees, especially that young one, Prahlad. Prahlad wasn't worshipping a half man, half lion. Everywhere, Prahlad is saying, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova. He's worshipping Vishnu or Nārayaṇa, chanting the names of Krishna, but he's not worshipping this form that has a face of a lion, and he was worshipping his Lord, but the personification of anger manifested to protect Prahlad from the evil demon Hiranyakashipu. And he manifested in such a form. But Prahlad was very, very smitten by this beautiful form. He even said how much more beautiful he looks with all of those little red gopi dots which splattered his face after that big ordeal. I'll let you figure out what that means. So now we will call out to Sri Sachinandan Gaura Hari. Hey, I knew that was going to be the one. Guess which one, everyone? The first one to figure out which one I'm going to sing. It was Lochandas Thakur, so makes it easy. Ah, she got it. Red little gopi dots are all laughing. Kejabi Bhai Bhavasindupar, page 73. Yes. Remember, Lochandas Thakur has a way of really shocking the heart. The last line he's saying, Sab jiva hoilo par premera batase. All jivas are crossing over this ocean of material existence on the boat with being propelled by the favorable winds of prem. Only myself, Lochandas, due to my own fault, I have been left behind. And I reflect quite often on this. Due to my own fault, I've been left behind. Like, we've received so much from our gurus. Thakurji, Harinam, our Diksha mantras, all Harikatha, all of our books, Mahaprasad, Vrindavan Dham, association, again and again and again. And we know better. And still, we choose to neglect that boat. I cannot say you, but you can look at your own hearts and feel your own pulse and know where you are. It's like, I'll catch it another. Okay. Sudevi and I have been traveling around the world for 20 years on the order of our Gurudev, going from home to home to home to home. Every 5 days, a new home. And I cannot tell you, I cannot count the amount of times we have heard from devotees all over the world, like, it's not going to happen this life. Maybe next life or another life. And we're like, oh my God, there's no guarantee that we're going to be in this position in the next life. What we have now, we should take what opportunity we've been given and run as far, as fast as we can with what we have. And yet, our condition is such that we are, you can say, although all facility is there, we're so unfortunate that we have no motivation or drive to accept it. As our Srila Gurudev said, my mercy is flowing like the Yamuna River, but I see that so many are dying of thirsts, lying on the bank. On the bank of the river, but they're dying of thirst because they won't drink. In English, there's a saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot force him to drink. So Gurudev gives all facility. Krishna is giving all facility, but we also have to do something. Right? The kripa is there. The mercy is there. But what do we have to do? What is the Sanskrit? Whoever gets the Sanskrit. Kripa is there, and the Sanskrit means our hard endeavor. You get a Mathura Pera times 10. The mercy is flowing like the Jamuna River, but we must do something. And what is that? Not Jeshta, but very close. It means our hard endeavor. And in this connection, while I'm waiting for it to come up properly, Srila Gurudev said, you want me to put the rasagula in my mouth, to chew it, to swallow it, to digest it, and then you will get all the benefit. He said it doesn't work like that. You must also do something yourself. So only due to my own fault, I have been left behind. Since money is the currency of value in the world today, I will give you a practical example. Imagine I gave you a key to a special safety deposit box that had in it 10 million pounds. And that can be pounds of British currency or pounds of gold, as you like. And you had 24 hours to collect it, to go and get it. And then you're like, oh, well, I've got 24 hours. So I'll have a snack. And you fall asleep and you wake up and there's only 18 hours left. And you're like, well, I still got a lot of time. Let me go hang out with my friends. It's my last day as a poor person, so let me hang out and have fun. And then you decide, okay, now it's time to go to the bank. And you get in your car and you want to go to the bank, but whoops, you ran out of gas, petrol. And then you didn't plan things right, you got lost, and you just missed it, the bank closed. And you have no capacity because they gave you a time limit. Then what would you be doing? Oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? You'd be cursing yourself, thinking I'm the most stupid, foolish person in the universe. What have I done? What have I done? So Lochana is giving us this shock. Mahārāja Parikshit was guaranteed 7 days. And what did he do with his time? Immediately he gave up everything. He gave up his kingdom, he gave up his family, his wealth, everything, even his clothes. He went only with Brahman underwear, kopins. One strap there, one strap underneath. Hare Krishna, I thought I turned that off. Hare Krishna. I did. How is it calling me? I don't understand. I turned off cellular and it's still calling me. There's a ghost in the machine. So, where was I? Oh, why are they calling again? How are they calling? This is amazing. No. No, not now. Bahar, give it to Naveen. Naveen ke liye, Radhe Radhe. Naveen de do. कहाँ हैं? गोपीनाथ भवन में? नवीन को दे दो. Okay, so yes, you do. Egg minute. Sorry, everyone. Please forgive my very, very broken
You get
bad
to see
Hindi.
all the fun here.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is everyone there? This is proof that it's not pre-recorded.
Oh, by the way, tonight, Krishna Kripa, our drummer / son, is going to be doing the kirtan live for Madhukar. So everybody please go and support his beautiful kirtan. He's my son.
Also, today Krishna Kripa released his first CD ever.
Did he send it to you?
Not the full thing. He just said he sent the
Braj.
what do you call it? The promotion video for it. And I was like, we've never been able to get so like organized. But anyhow, we did help him with it. So I look forward to hearing the final version. So, where were we? You cannot learn Hindi, not from me. Don't learn from me. Okay. So what did Mahārāja Parikshit do? He gave up everything and did the best thing that he could possibly do. He heard Harikatha from the mouth of Shukadeva Gosvāmī for 7 days and 7 nights continuously. He heard Śrīmad Bhagavatam. He gave up everything else, and through the process of hearing, he attained perfection. Right. Sorry about that. He's still trying to call back again. I don't know how he's able to call. Can anyone tell me? I've turned off my cellular. How is he able to call? I don't know. So Mahārāja Parikshit, he did the best thing he could. And he had guaranteed 7 days. He was cursed to die within 7 days. So he had 7 days guaranteed. Our Srila Prabhupada has said we are not guaranteed 7 minutes or 7 seconds. But we do have this human form of life, which is that perfectly constructed boat. Only from this form can one endeavor for perfection. So it is an amazing thing when we have a birthday or a birth into the human form because of the opportunity it affords. It is said in Shastra that even the demigods are waiting to take birth in this Kali Yuga to take advantage of the great mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, the Sankirtan movement. They're waiting to take birth at this time to avail themselves of the opportunities which one can attain so easily. Simply, kirtanareva krishnasya. Through the process of Krishna kirtan, mukta sangha param brajet, one can attain to the highest transcendental destination, param brajet. So, Lochan Das here is saying, due to my own fault, I have been left behind. We don't want to be in such a position where we'll be going regretting. I think there's a lot of bhajans of regret also. Narottam Das Thakur. Gora pahu na bhajiya mainu, prema ratana dhana helaya harainu. I have forsaken worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and instead have knowingly drunk poison. Hari Hari bifale janama gainu, manushya janama paya radha krishna navajiya, janiya shuniya bishakainu. It's the same mood. What am I doing with my life, with my time? I know everything about what's good for me, but instead I'm actually willingly, not just willingly, like rushing to drink poison, to take everything which is not good or favorable for me. And then what will happen at the end of our life? Bhaktivedānta Thakur has a lot of bhajans like that. Now at the end of my life, he's saying, I've given all of my energy to everything when I was young, all material pursuits, and now I have nothing left, no capacity, anything. Now at the end of my life, I'm looking, going, I need help. So with what we have now, Srila Gurudev would say, don't wait for tomorrow or next week or some other time. Don't wait for 2 or 3 hours from now. From now, immediately, just now, start. So just so you know, I'm speaking to myself just quite loudly. So Lochan Das Thakur here is saying, who will go, oh brothers, across this ocean of material existence? This age of Kali is blessed. It is known as Dhanya Kali Yuga. Dhanya means blessed. It is a special Kali Yuga. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this Kali Yuga. He does not appear in every Kali Yuga. Anarpitat charing chirat kurunayavatin nakalo samarpitum. In a very long time, 8,640,000,000 years have elapsed since the last appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Other Gora avatars have come, but not to give what? Krishna Prema Pradayate. Specifically, Unata Ujvala Rasang Svabhakti Shriyam. Whoever knows what that means in very simple terms, Unata Ujvala Rasang Svabhakti Shriyam, you will get the blessings of Gurudev, guaranteed. So you have to write it down. What is a shortened version of Unato Ujvala Rasang Svabhakti Shriyam? Can you bring me more water, Sudevi? Amara Gaurangir Ghate Adan Kheyavai Jara Andha Aturay Abadi Parahoy. A free ferry boat operates at the port of my Gauranga. So who's in charge of that port? Gauranga. Very, very good. So you've just secured the blessings of Srila Gurudev. The beauty of his own bhakti. Unata Ujvala Rasang Svabhakti Shriyam, that is Manjari Bhav. So this Kali Yuga is especially blessed. 8,640,000,000 years since the appearance of Krishna, who's endeavoring to taste the bhavs of Srimati Radhika. That Shachinandan Gaura Hari Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared. In other Kali Yugas, there are avatars of the Lord, but their function is not the same. They give the Yuga Dharma, but it is not injected with Brajabhav or anything like that. There's no follow-up of Rupa Gosvāmī, Sanatana Gosvāmī, Jiva Gosvāmī, our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivedānta Thakur, our Srila Prabhupada, it's not the same in every Kali Yuga. This is Dhanya Kali Yuga because of the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of his associates and the opportunity and the blessing that he gives. Even the old, the blind, and the crippled are crossing over. In other words, so many who might apparently be disqualified are crossing over. And myself, maybe I might have so many qualifications, but due to my own foolishness, my own stupidity, my own fault, I have been left behind. Harinam is the boat. In this case, he's saying Harinam is the boat. In Śrīmad Bhagavatam, there's a verse, Nrideya hamadyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam guru karnadaram mayanukulena nabhasvateritam puman bhavabdim nataretsa atmaha. There it is saying that this human form of life is the perfectly constructed boat. And those who do not take advantage of all of the opportunities that are given, it's saying here also Guru Karnadharam, Guru Kandari, same. Guru is the captain. But that Bhagavatam verse says that those who do not take advantage of these opportunities which are being given to us is no better than a butcher or a killer of their own self, of their own soul, Atmaha. So Harinam is the boat, Sri Guru is the helmsman, the captain, and the upraised arms of the Sankirtan party are the oars. All the jivas are crossing over by the favorable winds of Prem. So apparently there are sails as well. There are oars and sails, and Prem is the wind which is pushing those sails, and the Sankirtan party is rowing. Only Lochan Das, due to his own fault, has been left behind. So, after singing Chaitanya Avatar, then Jabi Bhava Par is often sung. Whenever I would hear Krishna Das singing it, he would always say, Jabi Bhava Par. Chaitanya. Chaitanya Avatar. Jabi Bhava Par. Now, a lot of times they jump from the bottom line to something above, and I don't quite understand why or get it when they do that, because the meanings change. So when they say Dubahu Pashari and then Shri Guru Kandari, they jump back up into the line before, into the verse before. Apanara doshe premerabhatase doesn't make any sense. Due to my own fault, premerabhatase, the favorable winds of prem. So then I just repeat the same one over. Even though I've heard it sung like that, if I don't understand something or it doesn't seem to make sense, I'm a little bit hesitant. One thing I've noticed is that just because someone might have been born in India or even in Bengal and they're singing bhajans in Bengali, it does not mean that they're connected to the meaning of the bhajan. As much as when I was little, when I would say the English translation of the Tulsi prayer or Shri Guru Charana Padma, it's very easy to rattle off an English translation without connecting to its meaning. Even though it's in my own language, I didn't think about it. Right? The lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way by which you can attain pure devotional service, I bow down to it, like that. It wasn't from heart. And you can know that because sometimes you would see when anyone is singing and they would be kind of singing and then showing off or joking or doing anything like that. And you're like, no. You know, you don't sing Jai Anil Premadhana, which is a song of separation with the heart breaking, in a Jai Anil Premadhana Kar. It's not like that. It should be, the mood should be connected with the bhajan and the author, praying for their mood, even a particle of their moods, to manifest in our heart while we are calling out in their words. So now we're going to call out in the words of Lochan Das Thakur. And really, although this is not his problem, it is our problem. He has not been left behind. He is there. But we, due to our own fault, may be left behind. So we should be very aware not to be left behind due to our own foolishness. কে যাবি রে ভব সিন্ধু পার কে যাবি রে ভব সিন্ধু পার ধন্য কলি যুগের যে ধন্য যাবি ভব ধন্য কলি যুগের যে ধন্য যাবি ভব তোরা যাবি রে ভব সিন্ধু পার তোরা কে যাবি রে আমার গৌরাঙ্গের ঘাটে প্রদান খেয়াব প্রদান খেয়াব আমার গৌরাঙ্গের ঘাটে প্রদান খেয়াব প্রদান খেয়াব জরয়ন্ধয়া তুরয় বধি পার অবধি পার জরয়ন্ধয়া তুরয় বধি পার অবধি পার তোরা কে যাবি রে ভব সিন্ধু পার তোরা কে যাবি রে ভব সিন্ধু পার হরি নামে মুখা খানি শ্রী গুরু কান্দারি শ্রী গুরু কান্দারি হরি নামে মুখা খানি kirtano kero yubahu pasari yubahu pasari tora teja ke jabire bha Sab jiva hoilo par premero batase ah premero batase Sab jiva hoilo par premero batase ah premero batase Oriyaro hino chan Oriyaro hino chan Aponar doshe Oh my God, Janardhan posted Krishna Das. That's fine. He is my mentor. Gurudev told me to learn from him, and I was fortunate enough to be able to sit next to him and record almost all of his kirtans for years and years and years during all of the tours and during Kartik. And I've learned everything from Krishna Das. If you want to learn how to sing it properly, Krishna Das? Krishna Das would adjust, correct, approve or anything, any of our, or disapprove any of our, sorry, I didn't add that one. I was just making the point that he would choose, he would be very selective and give us some constructive criticism, but always with affection. Wow. Yesterday I wanted to sing Soy Ke Vashanayla Shamanam, and there we go. Devaki has requested it. But we also have to sing one of Lochan Das's Krishna bhajans as well. Lochan Das also sang that one, Avatar Sar, Gorai Avatar, the one that you referred to, being stung by a bumblebee. Sudevi? Lochan Das also gave that one. And Paramakaruna. So many of the bhajans that we have are from Sri Lochan Das Thakur. Nitai Goranam Anandero Dham. Kahan jao roye? Instead of kahan ja rahe hain, kahan jao roye, something like that. It's it's a lot of slang, honestly. It's got a lot of expletives in it, and it's part of the language. That's local Brajabhasha, and it's quite familiar. Govardhan, the son of Baijantimala, Didi, used to speak it with Gurudev. And he told us that one time Gurudev was using his shoulder to walk up the stairs. And in Braj Bhasha, Gurudev says to Govardhan, I can beat you to the top of the stairs. And Govardhan's like, really? Let's do this. And they were just chit-chatting in Braj Bhasha back and forth. And Gurudev loved it. Mm-hmm. Yes, Sudevi Didi was saying, why did Gurudev love me so much? Because I spoke Braj Bhasha. So Gurudev would actually have her stand up and speak, and he would request also that she would speak it in Braj Bhasha. And it was like nectar to his ears, just that language. To me it sounds a little bit like, it sounds like Hindi, but very, very village, and even with a lot of Bengali mixed in, because Vrindavan was saturated for the last 500 years with Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So there's some mixture in there as well. I don't know how current Brajabhasha is next to what Krishna speaks, but I can guarantee you that Krishna speaks the language of love. And all the Brajavasis speak the language of love. And that is the real Brajabhasha, that language of pure, spontaneous love and affection for Krishna in Vrindavan. That is the real language of Vrindavan. Good luck. Is there any way to learn Brajabhasha? You can hang out here, go to the villages, hang out with the little kids. Maybe eventually you can learn like that. In Bandirban, where the kids are all walking around with peacock feathers, there, maybe you can learn some Braj Bhasha. But you'll probably learn a few bad words first. That's how I learned a little bit when I was little. I didn't know what they were saying, but they were jumping on the back of the rickshaw, and they were saying some pretty bad stuff. And that's pretty much what I learned in my first, of Hindi or Braj Bhasha in my first year and a half or 2 years of Gurukul. Otherwise, we were being taught Sanskrit. So now, just so you know, Krishna with his friends is still a naughty little boy. And his friends are also naughty little boys. And so they speak the language that naughty little boys speak to each other. They hang out, I'm going to use the words, yuck it up. They create mischief and are nuisances. They will throw stones at the pots that the gopis are carrying through Shankarikor, and the butter or the yogurt will pour all over them, and they'll laugh and joke and say stuff. And of course the gopis then reverse that. They hide by the hundreds of thousands in the bushes, and when Krishna and his friends come through that narrow passageway, they descended upon them, captured them all, tied them up to the trees by their hair or their shikas and gave him a good lesson. Then they dressed Krishna up as a girl, put a pot of yogurt on his head, made him, They had him march back and forth, and then the Lalita Sakhi took a pebble and hit the pot of yogurt, and Krishna was bathed in yogurt. And all of the gopis were so happy, laughing and clapping. But they had boxed his cheeks until they were quite swollen and red. And he vowed, holding his ears, "I swear I will never do it again. I swear, I promise, I promise." My father asked Gurudev, so he promised he would never do it again. So did he ever do it again? And Gurudev just looked at him and said, "The next day." The next day. It's amazing, huh? Krishna is, from him comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. I guess he can also become forgetful into himself. So, Soy Kevashin Ale Shyamanam. Oh wow, that's in the glorifications of Harinam, right? Because it's about the name of Krishna. Soy Keva Shunailo Shyamanam by Sri Chandidas, page 183. 183. And then after this, then we will sing Bhajo Bhajo Hari, 136. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai. So Keva Shunailo Shyamona. So Keva Shunailo Shyamona. 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 So Keva Shunailo Shyamona. So Keva Shunailo Shyamona. Kanero hitoro diya parame pashiro go. Kanero hitoro diya parame pashiro go. Akula koriro mor pran. Akula koriro Jani kate ko madhu Shyamona me ache go. Na jani kate ko madhu শ্যাম নামে আছে গো বদন ছাড়িতে নাহি পারে বদন ছাড়িতে নাহি পারে জপিতে জপিতে নাম অবশ্য করিল গো জপিতে জপিতে নাম অবশ্য করিল গো তেমনে পাইব সইতারে তেমনে পাইব সইতারে দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা নাম পরতাপে যা বৈচন করিল গো নাম পরতাপে যা বৈচন করিল গো অঙ্গের পরশে কি বাহু অঙ্গের পরশে কি বাহু যেখানে বসতি তার সেখানে থাকিয়াব যেখানে বসতি তার সেখানে থাকিয়াব যুবতী ধর্ম কৈছেরা যুবতী ধর্ম কৈছেরা দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা পাশারিতে চাহি মনে পাসরা না যায় গো পাশারিতে চাহি মনে পাসরা না যায় গো কি করিব কি হবে উপায় কি করিব কি হবে উপায় সখী হে মোরে আমার মিয়া সখী ওহে দ্বিজ চন্ডী দাসে কুলবতী কুলনাশে ওহে দ্বিজ চন্ডী দাসে কুলবতী কুলনাশে আপনার যৌবন যাচায় আপনার যৌবন যাচায় দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা ও দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা ও দেবা শুনাইল শ্যামনা রাধে শ্যাম 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 Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam. Shri Radha Shyama Sundar Ji ki. I recorded a Krishna Das version of it. That's how I learned it. I don't know. It's probably in purebhakti.tv under the audio section under Krishna Das. Otherwise, we have it. Krishna Das was able to sing it so high that almost no one could follow. But Gurudev loved it when anyone would sing Kalibai Uchaishware at the top of one's voice. And Gurudev himself would do such a thing. And that's why he liked Sudevi singing, because she would sing. He told her, he said, Krishna sings in the 5th note, Radhika sings in the 7th note. I want you to sing in the 8th note. So for many years she was trying to sing that high, of course, for the pleasure of Gurudev. Now we will sing Bhajo Hari by Śrī Das Thakur, page 136. Bhajo bhajo hari manodridha kori mukhe bolo taruna. Bhajo bhajo hari manodridha kori mukhe bolo taruna. Brajendra Nandana Gopi Pranodhana Brajendra Nandana Gopi Pranodhana Bhuvana Mohano Shyam Bhuvana Mohano Shyam Kokono Marive Kamone Tarive Vishamo Shamano Dake Kokono Marive Kamone Tarive Vishamo Shamano Dake Jaharo Pratape Bhuvana Kapoye Jaharo Pratape Bhuvana Kapoye Najani Moro Vipake Najani Moro Vipake Uladhano Paya Unamato Hoya Aponate Jano Varo Kuladhano Paya Unamato Hoya Aponate Jano Varo Shamonero Dute Gori Paye Hate Bandhiya Kori Bejara Shamonero Dute Gori Paye Hate Bandhiya Kori Bejara kiba jyoti sati kiba nicho jati je hari nahi bhaje kiba jyoti sati kiba nicho jati je hari nahi bhaje taba janamiya brahmiya brahmiya tabe janamiya brahmiya brahmiya roravono rakamaji roravono rakemaji edasolocham bhave anuksham vrithai janamavelo edasolocham bhave anuksham vrithai janamavelo harina bhajinu vishaye mojinu harina bhajinu vishaye mojinu hridaye rohalo shela hridaye rohalo shela hridaye rohalo shela hridaye rohalo shela bhajo bhajo hari man dridha kori mukhe bolo taro naam bhajo bhajo hari man dridha kori mukhe bolo taro naam brajendra nandana gopi prano dhana brajendra nandana gopi prano dhana bhuvana mohana shyam bhuvana mohana shyam brajendra nandana gopi prano dhana bhuvana mohana shyam bhuvana mohana shyam krishna he 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 Shri Vinod Bihari Ji ki jai Śrīla Chandas Thakur ki jai Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite, page 341. Jai. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite 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 Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Damodarāṣṭakam Vardhana Veshe Damodarāṣṭakam Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishuta Vrindavipineshe Hari Nishuta Vrindavipineshe Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Vrishabhanu Dadhinavashashireke Vrishabhanu Dadhinavashashireke Lalita Sokhi Guno Ramita Vishakhe Lalita Sakhi Guno Ramita Vishakhe Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Varunita Charite Sanaka Sanatana Varunita Charite Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite O Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayite Radhe Jayo Krishna Jayo Radhe Jayo Krishna Jayo Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Radhe He Krishna He Radhe He Krishna He Radhe He Krishna He Radhe He Krishna He Vrishabhananda Shrimati Radharani Ki Jai. Today we will speak a little bit about Lochan Das Thakur, but we're also going to speak something on Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. So first, we will light the lamp of love. Prem Pradeep. That is page 290 in the songbook. I don't know why, I just put my songbook away. Śrī Dāmodara ki jai. Radha Vinu Bihari Ju ki jai. Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai. Radha Raman Ju ki jai. Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai. Shalagram Shila ki jai. Laddu Gopal ki jai. Chotta Chotta Laddu Gopal ki jai. And today we are singing the one we grew up with. Page 290. Namamishwaram Shachit Anandarupam Yasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodabhi satyaiva yadva tvayamucito bhakti bhajo krito cha tatha premo bhaktim sakame prayacha namokshe graho nesti damodareha namaste sudhamne spuradiptidhamne tvadiyodarayato vishwasya dhamne namo radhikaya tvadiya priyaya namo nanta nilayo devaya tubhyam namo radhikaya tvadiya priyaya namo nanta lilayo devaya tubhyam namo radhikaya tvadiya priyaya namo nanta lilayo devaya tubhyam radha damodara radha damodara damodara radha damodara radha damodara radha damodara damodara radha damodara jai radha damodara radha damodara radhe jayo radha damodara radha damodara radhe jayo radha damodara radha damodara radhe jayo radha damodara radha damodara radhe Shri Radha Damodar Ju ki jai Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam ki jai Now, we will call out together in that greatest of all mantras, the Maha Mantra, which is actually the sound form of the Lord Himself, who is not alone, who is also present with Srimati Radhika, that sound of the soul crying out in separation from his eternal beloved Lord, or her eternal beloved Lord. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Shri Shrinitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Shri Gurudev ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Pan Guru Guru Varga ki Jai, Shri Lochandas Thakur ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So many of you have just seen Damodar Pandit, Dandavat Pranam. He just wrote in that as we were singing Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam on the last line, Namo Radhikāya Tvadiya Priyāya Namo Nantalilāya Devāya Tubhyam, we sang that 3 times. As we were singing that last line, his mother Padmavati abandoned this world. So I pray with all of you devotees that Padmavati Devi may be carried to that destination. Namo Radhikāya Tvadiya Priyāya, in the service of Shri Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. It's interesting, for someone's birthday we say, Mangalam bhavatu, Guru Nishtha bhavatu, Krishna Bhaktir bhavatu, Radha Dasyam bhavatu. But the same should also be said for their disappearance. So we should pray for her, that all auspiciousness may be upon her for her journey. Mangalam bhavatu. May she develop unprecedented nishtha in the lotus feet of Sri Guru, Guru Nishtha bhavatu. May she develop Krishna bhakti, divine love for Krishna, Krishna bhaktir bhavatu. May she awaken in her transcendental form as a maidservant of Srimati Radhika, Radha Dasyam bhavatu. So we should all pray for her that her Gurudev, her Guru Varga, all of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Shri Radha and Krishna will bless her, that she can move very swiftly on the path of love, the path of devotion, and awaken her own eternal transcendental identity as quickly as possible. Shri Padmavati Devi Ki Jai. Also, our condolences are with you, Damodar Pandit Prabhu. Okay. There was a question earlier about something.
Yeah,
Something.
If you could answer it about bhajan.
Something about a wing wing? Oh, that's the tampura.
Too loud.
Okay. Let me just look back. I'm not able to be constantly aware of everything that's coming on here every time.
We have to be done by 8 so we could see Kripa.
Mm-hmm. Can an illiterate be qualified to recite Sanskrit bhajans with egotistical performance? That's a very interesting and strange question. However, no one is qualified to recite bhajans with egotistical performance. Bhajan is not a performance. Bhajan is part of the process of awakening divine love in the heart for Krishna.
With humility, kotai ko prenumai.
So, whether one is literate or illiterate, if they're doing something with ego, meaning not pure ego, but mundane ego, then that is no qualification for connecting to Krishna. Whether one is literate or illiterate, if they're approaching in a mood of humility and prayer with sincerity of heart, tears in the eyes, and under guidance of Guru and Vaishnavas, Krishna is bound to hear that prayer. Sad anga sharanagati hoibe jahar tahar prarthana shune Shri Nanda Kumar. That Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, is bound to hear the prayer of anyone who surrenders unto him with that sixfold process of Sharanagati. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyati ti vishvasho goptritvevaranam tatha atma nikshepa karpanye shadvidha Sharanagati. I'm not going to break it down. You can research that. But who is qualified to chant the holy names of the Lord constantly? That is one of the processes of bhakti. And bhakti is defined as those activities which are done exclusively for Krishna's happiness, pleasure, and benefit, without desire for anything in return. So if anything is considered the process of bhakti, then it must be defined by that verse as well. So whether one is doing kirtan, chanting bhajans, listening to class, taking Mahaprasad, worshipping Thakurji, doing parikrama, reading transcendental literature, or cleaning the temple, whatever one is doing related to bhakti, that verse, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, defining bhakti, the best definition of bhakti, but given by Rupa Goswami, should be at the forefront of it. If one is not applying that, and one is just trying to do their own path, then Shastra says that those practices which disregard the teachings of Scripture, it only creates so much nuisance in society. So Mahaprabhu says, if you want to chant the holy names of the Lord, that's also not considered different than hearing his glories, worshipping the deity in the temple, or serving him in so many other ways, then Trinadapi Sunijena Tarorapi Sahishnana Amanina Manadena. Then you can do that. Not with an egotistical mindset, but whether one is literate or not is no qualification or disqualification. It's all about the mood, the bhav in the heart of that person who's approaching. Krishna doesn't need our beautiful singing or our beautiful poetry or anything like that. He's got Mother Yashoda singing for him, Srimati Radhika singing for him. What does he want from us? One thing, the hardest thing to give. He wants everything. He wants our heart. He wants our mind. He wants our loyalty. He wants our independence. He wants everything. That's why he says, Sarva dharmam parityaja. Don't worry about all of those things in this world. Surrender exclusively unto me. So, in other words, abandon everything else and give me yourself exclusively. Krishna is saying this. So, somehow or other we have to do so, but we should do so while being under guidance of Sri Guru. So we do it properly. How? Through Srimati Radhika. Well, thank you for your question. Oh, okay. Well, we should still pray for her. He's saying, sorry Vaishnavis, I meant her passing in Brazil in 2013, the same bhajan, but thanks for wishing her to enter eternal service under Sri Rupa Manjari. Anyhow, this is important. And Lochan Das was saying in that bhajan, Bhajo Hari, Mana Dridha Kori. What was that, 130 something? So even if it happened in 2013, still he's remembering that taking place. But Lochan Das Thakur was saying, making your mind steady, worship Sri Hari, and with your lips chant his holy names. Brajendra Nandan, the son of the king of Braj, Gopi Pranadhan, the treasure of the life of the gopis, and Shyama, dark complexion one, whose beauty enchants the entire universe. When will you die? When will you die? How will you be delivered? The fearsome Lord of Death, at whose power the universe quakes, is calling. You do not realize the mortal danger. Intoxicated by your high birth and wealth, you think yourself very great, yet the messengers of the Lord of Death will render you inert by capturing you and binding your hands and feet. Whether one is renounced, chaste, or low caste, if he does not worship Sri Hari, then he will take birth, wander within the material world, and drown in the hell known as Raurava. This Lochan Das always contemplates how his life has passed in vain. I have not worshipped Sri Hari, rather I have absorbed myself in sense enjoyment, and thus a spear pierces my heart. These prayers are really important for us because they talk directly to us. He's shining a mirror at our lack of endeavor, for lack of better words. He's shining a mirror at us. Look at yourself. Do you see yourself in this? What have you done? I've lived my life in vain, having not worshipped the Lord. Am I really, really approaching the Lord with devotion? Or am I doing it out of a small amount of time, out of some sort of sense of duty? So he's shining something upon us, showing us and telling us how to pray, how to weep, how to cry out. It's hard to hear it, and it's like, whoa, that's intense. But really, we can feel our own pulses and see, is he actually diagnosing me by this prayer? Am I guilty of all of this? And then he's telling us what we should be doing with our life, with our time. With our lips, we should chant the holy names of the Lord. Brajendra Nandan, Gopi Pranadhan, Shyam. So this is something that all of our Guru Varga have requested, not requested, but made us, in essence, contemplate. That we should be very, very aware of the value of this human form of life and also its very temporary nature. And we should do what is most favorable for it, or with it, that which is the goal or the purpose of this human form of life. Only the human form of life awards us or gives us the opportunity to endeavor for perfection. No other form of life gives us that opportunity. So Lochan Das is really reminding us, I would say, helping us to put our feet on the ground in a sense. Some of us might be floating on this idea that, oh, I'm a manjari and we've seen it before, floating in this kind of like, I'm a maidservant of Radhika bhav, but still fully absorbed in all kinds of sense gratification as well. So Lochan Das is helping us to keep our feet grounded. The day of Srila Bhaktivedānta Trivikram Mahārāja is coming up, and he was like that. There was one devotee who once performed a drama, and he played the role of Raghunath Das Goswami. And after the drama, he was still kind of swooning in the role. So he was, in essence, method acting, I think it's called, where he's taking on the character of that personality, and then he was still in the role. And Srila Trivikram Maharaj, his comment afterward was, very beautiful drama. But there's one thing you should remember. You are not Raghunath Das Goswami. And so immediately he grounded, because everyone was weeping. It was beautiful. It was amazing. But he just wanted to make sure that we weren't floating in some realm that wasn't substantial. So Lochan Das grounds us. Our Srila Prabhupada also was very fond of the bhajans of Lochan Das Thakur. He would sing them quite often. Parama Karuna, Bhajo Bhajo Hari, so many of this, Nitai Gunamani Amar. Some of these kinds of bhajans of Lochan Das Thakur he would sing, and he would quote him quite often. Who's Stanislavski? Anyhow, there's no harm in aspiring for that, but we should not think I'm that and we're still fully absorbed in the material energy. Then that becomes a superimposition, superimposing the spiritual on the mundane in essence, that I'm jumping ahead of my adhikar, or my qualifications. So Gurudev said very carefully, we should take step by step, and he would make this motion on his arm like a caterpillar, moving step by step. He would call it an inchworm. One foot firmly planted, then the next one lifted, then that one firmly planted, and the next one lifted. Like this. He said, if you try to jump to the top of the tree all at once without actually climbing properly, he said, then in the process you may fall and smash your legs and your head and your arms. So we should be very careful to follow the process which has been chalked out by our acharyas, by the Mahajans. Mahajano yena gata sapanta, following that path of the great personalities. So Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tirale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tara Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimiraandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Namine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Giring Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupar Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad Śrī Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupar Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad Śrī Bhaktivedānta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam. Radhe Vraja Janamana Sukhakari. Radhe Shyam, Shyam, Shyam. So, Srila Bhaktivedānta Gosvāmī Mahārāja spoke about Sri Lochana Das Thakur. That today is the disappearance day of Sri Lochana Das Thakur, but this was given on the appearance day of Lochana Das Thakur. And I just want to share a little bit. So, just the essence that Lochana Das Thakur, he was born in Katwa. It's a Katwa subdivision. So this is where Mahaprabhu took sannyas. And although in his early age he was married, he had no interest in material life. This is quite a common theme among our Vaishnava acharyas, that although they might be externally following social etiquettes, this is called one's naimitaka dharma. Their nitya dharma is flowing inside. Their eternal occupation of loving service to the Lord is flowing internally. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami, don't be like a madman, go home, be like normal in the world so no one can detect what is going on in your heart and mind, but always remember Krishna. And when the time is right, Krishna will make all arrangements for you. And later on, Mahaprabhu told Raghunath that you should always remember Radha and Krishna within your mind and serve them. Vraj means Vrindavan's Radha Krishna Manasa Seva Koribe. So Lochana Das was a contemporary of many of the associates of Srimad Mahaprabhu. Narahari Sarkar was his spiritual master. And the spiritual master told him, accept the Grihastha ashram and do your bhajan, there is no loss in this. This is quite interesting because frequently within Gaudiya Math there's this idea that, well, I'm a brahmachari, so I'm superior. The moment someone thinks like that, they are not superior at all. And I remember our Srila Gurudev spoke about this. He said those who are acting like this, they are very, very low. That kind of mood, thinking that, oh, I'm superior because of the color of my cloth, and then doing all kinds of nonsense activities. He's like, no. Those who are honest and simple, they're better. And those who are serving Krishna, of course, they are the best. But for the Grihastas, if they're engaging their senses and their mind and their energy in serving Krishna, then how can you see that there's a difference? The gopis are also married. Most of Mahaprabhu's associates are married. It doesn't disqualify them from bhakti. Advaita Acharya is married. Of course, he's Mahavishnu. But Srivas Pandit, there are so many personalities. The Pandavas are married. Draupadi is married. But what is she? Krishna calls her his Pranasakhi. So just because someone's married does not disqualify them from bhakti, but it can distract one. If one is able to be exclusive and one-pointed, then that is best. But in a situation in this world where whatever situation one is in, grihe tako means within household life, bane tako or forest life, sada hari bole dako, always one should chant the holy names of the Lord. And so many times we find that there are persons who are married and then they prematurely give up their married life, become a brahmachari / sannyasi, and then jump back into another married life. Well, that's considered absolutely incorrigible by our Guru Varga. This is not real renunciation. So married life keeps one restricted. Somehow I find that in married life there's a lot more restriction even than in sannyasi life. And I'll give an example. There was one sannyasi many years ago. We were at Prem Sarovar.
Restriction or protection?
Protection and restrictions. There's restrictions. And I'm making a point. So I was there, all the devotees were there for parikrama at Prem Sarovar. One devotee lady was at the bottom of the stairs taking achman with deep honor and respect, you could see. And the sannyasi picked up a ball of mud from the top and threw it, and it splashed right in front of her, and he thought it was very funny. And I just looked at him and I said, I could never get away with that. There are 40 sets of eyes watching me, and every one of them will tell my wife. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm in a more protected situation than you are, because no one is correcting you or chastising you. But I know that my wife would get very upset if she knew I was, in essence, flirting with some girl who was taking achman by throwing some ball of mud in front of her and splashing her with water. So just because one is in the garb of a sannyasi or a brahmachari, this is not what determines one's qualification for bhakti. It depends on what one's own intention and endeavor is, in whatever situation. And the proof is also in Srivas Pandit. He was completely renounced and completely surrendered, and also had them, his family, participate in that renunciation and surrender. Who else do we know who was a grihasta? Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. He had many children. And he had so many external duties. But what was he doing in his private time? Bhajan, constantly. So here it said that following the order of his guru, Lochan Das proceeded to his in-laws' place to bring his wife home, but he could not recall its exact location, since he was very young when he had gotten married. So there was, in India, traditionally people would get married when they were very young, like our Gurudev and his wife, but then the couple did not live together. So there was a formal wedding, but the couples stayed apart in their own family's home, and then when they were of mature age, then they would go and live together. So Lochan had been married when he was much younger, but then it was time for him to go to his marriage home, and he could not find its exact location. He had forgotten. So he asked a young girl who was passing by for the direction, addressing her as Mataji, meaning mother. Later, upon arriving at his in-laws, he realized that, in fact, it was his wife whom he had inquired from. Thenceforth, he always treated his wife as his mother because of once having mistakenly addressed her as such. Such was his firm resolve. Lord Shiva did something like this too. When his wife, Parvati, went to test Śrī Ram, she's like, you're saying he's Bhagavan, but Ram is crying in the forest for his wife who was kidnapped. How can he be Bhagavan? Lord Shiva was like, trust me, he's God, he's Bhagavan. She's like, okay, I accept it. And then Lord Shiva went into meditation. And his wife went to test Ram. So she took the form of Sita and stood in front of Ram as he's calling, Sita, Sita, where are you? Weeping for Sita. And every time he would come close to her, he would turn and walk the other way. And she would go and stand in front of him, in essence blocking Ram's way, taking the form of Sita. So after some time, Ram said to her, Mother, please, don't disturb my pastimes, my lila. And then he revealed to her that he is present in every atom and every leaf. Him and Sita are present everywhere. And then she realized, oh, what have I done? Then she went back to her husband, Lord Shiva. He was in meditation. When he came out of his meditation, of course, he knew everything. He said to her, so, did you test him? She said, no, I didn't need to test him. I believed you when you told me he was Bhagavan. So then she lied to her husband. She took the role of Mother Sita. Lord Shiva sees Ram and Sita like Mata Pita, Mother, Father. Transcendental, of course. From that day forward, Lord Shiva never kept her to his left side, but treated her like his mother because she took that role of Sita. So he would sit across from her in a mood of respect, not keeping her on his left side. She could not tolerate this. This is one of the reasons why she committed sati, meaning self-immolation from inside, to give up that body because Lord Shiva did not accept her as his wife anymore. So then she came back again in another birth, and then he married her again and kept her as his wife, and I think she was much more careful that time. So Lochan Das Thakur had met his wife as a girl passing by and asked her, "O Mataji," because in Vedic culture it is said that one should treat all women as their mother. Of course, not their wife. But this is a sign of respect. Lakshman never looked beyond Sita's toes. He had that kind of respect for her. So Lochan Das Thakur had no attraction to the material world whatsoever, and also no attraction. Because of his attraction to Krishna, he had no attraction to his wife as well. It is said he composed a book named Chaitanya Mangala. Around the same time, Vrindavan Das Thakur happened to also write a book, which we now know as Chaitanya Bhagavat, but he had named it the same, Chaitanya Mangala, but then understanding that Lochan Das had already composed this Chaitanya Mangala, then he changed it to Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Lochan Das's was as Chaitanya Mangala. There are some unauthorized editions of Chaitanya Mangala going around. How do I know? Because our Guru Varga have acknowledged Chaitanya Mangala, but there was once a devotee who asked Srila Gurudev a question. In Chaitanya Mangala, Lochan Das Thakur says this is in this and this. And Gurudev's like, what? He said, in all my years, I've never heard of that book. You think in all of these years I would have heard of that, but I've never heard of that. And so in essence, he didn't accept that as a bona fide question. In other words, whatever version of that book it was, it had been distorted. But Lochan Das, we always sing his bhajans, as a transcendental personality, so there can be no distortion in the words of the pure devotee. And this is important to know. Brahm, Pramada, Karanapatava, and Vipralipsa, these defects do not occur within the sayings of the all-knowing, all-seeing, perfected souls. So there is no mistake in the works of Lochan Das Thakur, but some might get a hold of it and add some twist to it that might appear like sahajya, some kind of concoction. So our Gurudev did not accept the concoction, but he accepted Lochan Das Thakur. Srila Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja speaks about Lochan Das Thakur's nishta, or firm conviction, in the lotus feet of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. We already heard in that one bhajan how much strong conviction he has in the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. So many of his bhajans are related to Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it is said that Nityananda Prabhu was his Ashray Vigraha and Mahaprabhu was his Vishai Vigraha. Vishai means the one who he was serving as the enjoyer, and Ashray is the one who he's serving as the one who is serving Mahaprabhu. Being intensely absorbed in Mahaprabhu, Lochan Das did not speak much about Nityananda Prabhu in his Chaitanya Mangala, but he spoke so much about him in his bhajans. So here, Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati is explaining that just as Krishna manifests himself through Balaram, Mahaprabhu manifests himself through Nityananda. Thus, first one needs to take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. One cannot glorify Mahaprabhu without glorifying Nityananda Prabhu. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, in this case, states that if you just take one but reject the other, that's like the logic of half a hen. half a hen, meaning you want the eggs, but you don't want to feed the mouth. So you cut it in half and you just take the one part, well, you lose all of it. So to try to take Mahaprabhu without Nityananda Prabhu, it is impossible. In order to receive the mercy of Mahaprabhu, one requires the mercy and the shelter of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. So Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Maharaj is saying that Lochan Das felt some remorse. That, oh, I've spent so much, I was so absorbed in Mahaprabhu that I did not speak enough about Nityananda Prabhu. So in retrospect, feeling some remorse, he felt he committed some offense. In this mood he lamented, oh, fie on me, I did not glorify Nityananda Prabhu, the one who gives Radha Krishna Prem and Brajavas. Nitayar Kuruna Have, Braje Radha Krishna Pave, Dharo Nitayar Charana Dukani. That was written by Narottam Das Thakur, that by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, one will attain Vrindavan's Radha and Krishna, therefore take shelter of the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. So, Srila Mahārāja is explaining that this is the recommended sequence of offering respects, and that's why we chant the bhajans the way we do, in a sequence, a kram. First approaching Shri Guru and Vaishnavas, then Rup Goswami, the 6 Goswamis, then Nityananda Prabhu, then Mahaprabhu, then Krishna, and then Srimati Radhika. That's how we do it. And of course, then followed by Mahamantra. So first pay obeisances to Guru, then Vaishnavas, and then Bhagavan. Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan tire smaran hoy sarva vidya vinashan. If one remembers Guru, Vaishnava, and Bhagavan, then by this, all ignorance is dispelled and all auspiciousness comes naturally. So to speak about, to remember any great personality on their day is extremely beneficial for us, especially the Vaishnavas. Because Krishna says about the Vaishnavas, they are my life and soul. Govinda Kohina Mama Vaishnava Pran. My Vaishnava, my devotee, they are my life and soul, Krishna says. So Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Maharaj is explaining what are these obstacles. Because we hear about obstacles, anarthas, and other things. What is an obstacle? Anything that checks one's progress in Hari Bhakti is an obstacle. And so many different kinds of things can be considered obstacles. What's holding me back from running forward on the path of Bhakti? That's an obstacle. That is why Lochan Das Thakur went on to extensively glorify Nityananda Prabhu through his many kirtans. Those kirtans stand testimony to his unprecedented nishta in Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. Just see Lochan Das Thakur's nishta for his Guru Varga. Does anyone ordinarily speak like this with so much resoluteness? Like Keshava Priya Didi previously said, that was the understatement of the year. It's an understatement to say, oh, he gives a little bit more heavy-handed. And it wasn't a little bit more, it was considerably more.
Sorry, it's 8.
Okay. So, on one hand, Vaishnavas are causelessly merciful. This is important because Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Maharaj is explaining how or why Lochan is using such strong language and how we can understand the benefit or the superior potency of that heavy, strong-handed nature. So on one hand, Vaishnavas are causelessly merciful even to the Chandalas, and on the other hand, they're not even willing to see the face of anyone who is averse to Nityananda. This is simply nishta in Nityananda, and we can get such nishta or firm conviction only by hearing of their lives and precepts. So hearing about those Vaishnavas who have that kind of mood toward Nityananda Prabhu, then we can also develop such a mood toward Nityananda Prabhu. So now he's referring to this really heavy line. He wrote an astonishing line in another bhajan we sang today. I shall scorch the face of one who has no regard for my nitai. Means set it on fire. Does any sadhu speak like this? Never. But this is just his way of expressing his firm conviction towards Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he's saying. So it's not that they will literally, physically do such a thing, but he feels this in his heart. Anyone who's against my Nitai, they should be set on fire. The gopis also say this. Those eyes that have not seen this beautiful sight of Krishna going to the forest in the morning with his friends and calves, they are completely useless. They should be struck by thunderbolts or set on fire. As Gurudev would say again, they are useless and useless, quite useless. So sometimes this kind of language is used, and this is just to show how much appreciation they have for, in this case, Lochan Das Thakur for Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and the gopis for this beautiful scene. Like Gurudev said, those eyes. He said, those eyes that have not seen, they're useless, quite useless. And the gopis say this, it's in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. They should be set on fire. It doesn't literally mean you should set your eyeballs on fire, but then what is the purpose of eyes that have not seen that beautiful scene? What is the purpose of anyone's life if they cannot recognize or serve or take shelter of Sri Guru Nityananda Prabhu? This kind of conviction he has. So it's important to understand the moods of these acharyas via the other acharyas or person bhagavats. They can reconcile and help us to understand. So in this case, I think it was very important that we heard from Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Maharaj in this particular case, because we sang that bhajan, we discussed it, and it was quite an intense thing to hear and to read and to sing. And now Srila Bharati Maharaj is explaining that it is just a manifestation of the depth of his conviction, of Lochan Das Thakur's conviction and admiration for Sri Nityananda Prabhu, taking shelter of his lotus feet. So on this day, what can we pray? This is the day of a very, very strong, powerful Vaishnava who has deep conviction in the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu manifests in our life, Gurudev said, directly in the form of Shri Guru. So on this day we can pray to Lochan Das Thakur. Right? All ignorance, all avidya, all vidya means unwanted things, anarthas, or those things which block us from moving forward on the path of bhakti. They can be destroyed by remembering these personalities. But what can we specifically pray to Lochan Das Thakur? Please be merciful to us and awaken within our hearts even just one particle of the nishta you have in the lotus feet of Shri Guru, Sri Nityananda Prabhu. For us, Shri Guru, in our Gurudev, and Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Please bless us with this, even one particle of that nishta that you have. We don't know how far that can go. Shri Lochan Das Thakur ki jai. So now the time is after 8, and we have another. Oh. What? Yes. Oh. Right. Okay. Srila Gurudeva ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Rupānuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Patik Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Shri Satyanandana Gaur Hari ki jai. Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai. Shri Lochan Das Thakur ki jai. Tirya Tirobha Maha Mahotsava ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaura Hare Bolo, Hare Bolo, Hare Bolo, Gaura Hare Bolo, Gaura Hare Bolo, Hare Bolo, Hare Bolo, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Shri Shri Dai Gaura Hari Guru, Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Guru Bhagwan Guru Guru Varga Ki Jai, Patipavan Shri Dāmodara Ki Jai, Prem Purushottam Shri Nandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Radha Bihari Ji Ki Jai, Radha Rama Ji Ki Jai, Giriraj Mahārāja Ki Jai, Hari Ram Sankirtan Ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai, Śrīla Sanātana Gosvāmī Ki Jai, Kadiyatra Mahamahotsav Ki Jai, Gaura Bhaktivedānta Ki Jai, Nitaya Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Govinda Damodara Madhava, Govinda Damodara Madhava, Govinda So thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and Guru Varga and to endeavor to glorify Śrīla Sanātana together. Also, we are indebted to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to do our Guru Seva, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with you all tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. If you hurry, maybe you can see Krishna Kripa on Gaudiya Kirtan. Run, run, run.
Radhe
Radhe,
Radhe,
Radhe.
Radhe Jai.
Jai.
Satyavrata Muni Hari Ki